David, what is the topic?
There is a mutiny about to happen in New York, meaning with the Jets. Rich Cimini for ESPN, who covers them, he went on his podcast and he discussed how the continued support, public support from Robert Saleh on Wilson is creating an issue with the defense. Quote, of course he has doubts about Wilson. He's watching what we're watching. He's watched it for 2.5 years. He definitely has doubts. He knows what Wilson is. But the thing is, he's coming off as a Zach apologist, and that doesn't play well in the locker room. This defense knows well that if any player was performing his job the way Wilson is performing his, that player would be benched. Trust me, there's tension in that locker room.
Okay.
What can Robert Saleh do to show that he's not a Wilson apologist? Does he just bench him? Or what can he actually do?
But again, all right, so this has reached a point where I almost feel bad for Zach Wilson. We know the guy's terrible. He doesn't wake up in the morning saying, God, how can I reach a new low today? So we understand it. And in the same sense, you know what? If you're a player, you should be smart enough to understand what your coach is doing. If Robert Saleh condemns Zach Wilson, he is saying that either Tim Boyle, former Lions backup who no one liked, or Trevor Siemian, who was unemployed 72 hours ago, is a better option. And that's not the case. Mm-hmm. This isn't on him. You know, if the players want to be upset, get an audience with Woody Johnson or get an audience with your GM and say, go get us Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, but the players, Mike, are just like the fans. They want an instant, quick fix to
Kirk
this
Cousins.
thing. And you got to bench him. Okay, well, who's my other options?
For what?
No, and that's just it. Most people don't look past that. Well, bench him and put somebody else in there.
Right,
well,
I'm offering a solution.
Kirk Cousins, yeah.
That's the only thing they could do. Minnesota's 0-3. Their season's over. It's the final year of a deal. If you're the Jets, F them picks and bring in Kirk Cousins. They have a defense capable of getting them to a Super Bowl. They need a quarterback that can be above average. Yeah. So that's all I could offer you. But Robert Saleh, we all work for somebody. What's Saleh going to do? Body bag Zach Wilson? Mm-hmm. Why?
So, Mike, your Jags, I guess America's Jags, now London's Jags, should we be worried about them? Here's why I ask. They have lost 2 straight games. They lost to Kansas City. They also lost to Houston. Okay, wonderful. But what the problem is the Jags totaled 9 points in 11 drives against Kansas City and 17 points with 10 drives against the Texans, who had previously surrendered 25 and 31 points in their other games. Now, they have 2 straight games in London starting on Sunday. Should we be worried about the Jags?
Yes. I mean, it's no secret the offensive line is not good, and it limits them. The other problem is, because of that O-line, because of an inability to run the ball effectively, consistently, Trevor Lawrence is now taking a step backwards. Look, you should be also worried because a lot like the Lions, it's easy to be the hunter. It's hard to be the hunted. And the Jags now have a target on their back as being a bit of a darling. And I also don't love the fact that with your season on the line, now you're halfway across the world playing 2 games instead of being at home. It's a flaw in what the league has allowed with this franchise.
It's a flaw, but it may actually be a benefit, at least for them for the second game, because they would already have been there. I'm sure they're not coming back. So the other team, the jet lag, they can take advantage of that. But yeah, it is surprising because I did think that the Jags would take that next step, and it's we're not seeing that right now.
One more note from that game, and I'm going to try to mention this as much as I can. C.J. Stroud might be the best quarterback right now in the class. He has passing yards of 906 in 3 starts. He's thrown the most passes right now, and he's 66.7% of his passes what he completed on Sunday. So just people that aren't paying attention to Houston football, pay attention as C.J. Stroud, without 4 of his starting offensive linemen, may be the best starting quarterback in the draft class.
Yeah, and again, they get Tunsil back, and they're putting the pieces together. He's been the best rookie. Mm-hmm. They have some weapons. Nico Collins, Michigan fans, I sympathize. I never understood why you didn't use him either. But Collins is good. Tank Dell is good. Pierce is good. And Stroud looks okay. I'm very pleased if I were a Texans fan.
No Anthony Richardson, not playing. Bryce Young, but he's injured, and now he's out there. And David, you know what the funny thing is? Because I always love in the count. You know what nobody's talking about? The test scores that he had. Remember, he scored like an 18% on there. And he's a dummy. He's this. Yeah, no one cares. He's winning now. He went out there and he looks like an NFL quarterback. And maybe he's going to be the guy that finally breaks the Ohio State quarterback jinx, where they actually turn out well in the NFL.
So many serious football stories going on, but I want to give this kind of funny story here about Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs did go out with the Cardinals and beat the Cowboys on Sunday, but he couldn't even buy his own jersey in the team shop. He had his family showing up for the game that week, went to the team shop, went to the custom machine. His name or his jersey number wasn't an option as a roster option on the machine. It has since been fixed now. He can now buy his jersey. They gave him plenty to give to his family now. But I thought that was pretty funny. He was there 10 days before his first start. Couldn't even get his jersey made 3 weeks into the season.
I mean, at least they let him in the building.
At least they let him in the building.
What kicker was it that the security guard kept stopping him at the end of the first game? I forgot, but at least
Miami's kicker, I believe.
At least they know who he was.
All right, so let's get to this real quick as we close this football today out. Scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give you some names. Scale of 1 to 10 on that they get traded this season. Start with Derrick Henry. 1 meaning they don't, 10 meaning yes, for sure.
Probably a 1. They tried to trade him in the offseason, had no takers.
Right there.
They're going to be fringy. I kind of like him this weekend, by the way. This is the ultimate Vrabel rat spot. Bengals minus 2.5 at Tennessee. That's got Titans written all over it, like 16-13. I'll say 0. Yeah. They probably ride into the sunset.
If they couldn't trade him last year, David, another year of miles on the tires, you're not going to get, unless you're willing to just let him go for little to nothing.
T. Higgins.
That's another one that I still believe is going to be a 0. I mean, David, A, he's not playing well. Let's start there. But B, if you trade T. Higgins, you're folding tent on the season. I mean, Tyler Boyd has fallen off a cliff. They can barely get Jamar Chase going. The time to do it was the offseason when the price was a first-round pick, and they didn't do it.
Yeah, you need him to have some big games to drive the value up. If that happens, then I would say maybe around a 4 or 5. But the way he's playing right now, no, there's going to be no takers because it's a position that's kind of a dime a dozen position.
Darnell Mooney, different kind of receiver. Chicago's out of it.
Go 5 out of 10. I mean, honestly.
Fire sale?
Yeah, has some upside, but a guy who clearly no one is prospering there. For me, here, look, I'll take it a step further. If I'm the Bears, I'm out of the Justin Fields business. Liquidate assets, tank to the bottom, new regime, get yourself Caleb or Drake May or something. Do you dare trade Fields and get whatever you can get?
Hold on. Let's
if Trey Lance gets a 4, Christ.
Hold on. Let's bring something that we did earlier. If you're the Jets, would you go after Fields?
Yes. As bad as he is, I can design an offense where I can just let him run around like crazy and make things happen. That's what he did last year. The problem for Fields is he might be a bleep hole. I root for him. I really wanted this to work. I didn't like him throwing the coaches under a bus and then basically saying I need to play backyard ball. Buddy, you got the worst record of any quarterback in the history of the NFL through 27 career starts.
But you're right. Like, if you're the Bears, if you I guess get a 4th round pick for him?
5th?
4th
7th,
or 5th round pick?
4th,
you go ahead and you
gift
move
certificate. Him. I don't know.
Because at that point, you're the season's already bad, but at least you're telling the fans, hey, we're going to be in the running for one of these quarterbacks, so just sit back, endure this season, and next year things get better.
If I'm the Jets, I'm calling everyone. That's my answer to you. So there's nothing you could say where I'd be like, no, outside of like Russell Wilson or something.
So even Teddy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I mean,
Teddy
right now,
gloves.
if you're the Jets, why wouldn't you call about Bridgewater? Why wouldn't you? And if I'm the Lions, I'm not doing them any favors. But if I'm the Lions, I'm saying, great, I'll take a 3rd round pick. But yes, I would call 100%.
Okay. Sorry,
Make the
David,
phone
didn't mean to
call.
hijack.
Nope, that's a beautiful way to end it. That
Make
is
football today great again.
in football today.